The owner of a rare African cat is not giving up hope.
Lori Pitt says his 8-year-old African serval named Tabu escaped from an open window of his RV last weekend. It was parked on the 800 block of Morris Avenue in Ashwaubenon. Pitt says the last time anyone called in a tip who had actually seen the animal was over the weekend. The cat is larger than most, weighing in at 50 pounds. He can run 65 miles an hour and jump 15 feet. Police say if you see the animal, don't approach it. Just call your local police department instead. It's Wednesday. We're heading out to Swamico to the new zoo.
And we've got Neil Anderson joining us live. Good morning, Neil.
Hey, good morning.
What do you think of that story? Should we be nervous about it? I think yesterday we reported that the cat was declawed.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, anytime you have an exotic animal that is in, you know, unfamiliar surroundings, that animal is under a lot of stress. And of course, at that time, you know, you just never know what can happen. So yeah, you should be very cautious. If, you know, I say you were to see something like that, a serval or whatever, you just want to make sure you stay a safe distance and get a hold of somebody, because, you know, unfortunately we do get a lot of animals, and you hear a lot of animals that come out of whether they're exotic pet breeders or they're individuals that decide this is a good idea for a pet. It's never a good idea to have an exotic animal for a pet. I can tell you that. You know, and here's a for instance right here. Right behind me is BB, and she's a 7-year-old female cougar, and she was actually rescued from a pet breeder down in northern Florida, and she ended up going to Charlestown Landing. She was there as a temporary home until they could find her a new home. And the great thing is we had an exhibit open here that we were able to do that. But one of the things that often happens is that when you have individuals that own these animals, they really not prepared to go ahead and properly take care of them from a nutrition end of it. But in addition to that, preparing to have an exhibit or space that would work well for an animal like this. And in her case, you know, I'll tell you what, when she came in to the new zoo, she had a lot of issues that were going on just because of the type of care she had in the small confined spaces that she was in. She had some nervous problems where she would actually lick all the hair off her tail and her front legs. And we really had, you know, we had to get a handle on that when she first came in here and get her settled in, and she's been doing fantastic on that. She settled into the exhibit, and she's not showing those stereotypical behaviors, but you know, that's kind of just displaced behaviors that she's frustrated, she's nervous, but she's not in a good environment. She wasn't in a good environment that would be conducive for her to conduct herself as a cougar. And that's the one thing we brought her over here. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about this morning, too, is, okay, we've had her on exhibit as a lone cougar, and usually this exhibit we've had 2 cougars in. And then we had another cougar, which is kind of peeking around the corner. This is Gillen. Okay?
That's
now,
the
you
baby.
remember with her? That's the baby. Now, she came in. She was found out in Oregon by some loggers. And she was an orphan little one at about 9 weeks old. Now, this is, you know, so both these cats have some interesting background that had they not basically been saved, they really wouldn't be here, especially this little cougar, because it is policy out there, both Oregon and California, is that when you have an orphaned cougar, if they cannot place that orphaned cougar, you know, within a couple weeks, 2 weeks, then they have to euthanize the cat. And it's simply because of this. Is a little cougar like this, the one thing with a little cougar, it has to learn how to survive by being with its mom and learning from its mom. It does not have the survival skills if it's by itself. So as you can see, both these cats, you know, came from a rough start, but we were able to give them a good home here. And we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing now to get these guys together.
Awesome. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.